Good evening everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are going to be doing another floating building. These seem to be quite popular with you guys, so I really want to make another one. But today we're going to be doing a magical inspired house. This is going to primarily be using the Realm of Magic expansion pack, so we're going to include a lot of those items, and I want this house to sort of be floating amongst the trees. I think it's going to look really nice, and I want it to look very nature based, a lot of plants and ivy and things going across the building. So let's crack on and see how that goes today. So I'm going to be using the Glimmerbrook watch plot to be able to do this, just because I think it looks really nice, and it is obviously in the correct sort of expansion pack world. It's also just like a really nice lock, 'cause it's right next to this little river and it's got loads of trees around it, which looks perfect for this. So I do want this to be floating, so the first thing I'm going to do is kind of in the area where I want it to be, I'm just going to place down one block. We can then go up to the next one, and I'm going to place another one directly above it, and then we can obviously erase the ones underneath. This is then going to create our first little land. I don't actually know how I want to get the sim up there. I am tempted to do some spiral stairs, so to be fair, it doesn't really need to be floating. We're just going to have to kind of work out how to do those floating stairs, and then that's going to be a bit harder, or we could just do a ladder that takes us all the way up. It doesn't need to be super high, I just want it to be still sort of in the air. Do you think we might just go with the classic sort of stair ladder that goes all the way up to the top? I just think it looks a little bit better. We will need a very tall tree as well just to hide that ladder so that it looks a little bit better when we're actually taking the pictures and stuff. But I don't want it to be too high up. I think something like that's probably fine. I'm gonna find the tree real quick so that we can gauge sort of the level that we want it to be on. So I think if we're going with Realm of Magic, something like this could be quite good, because that is from the Realm of Magic pack, so it fits in with the environment. I do just want it to be one very tall tree, and that's how we get in. I don't want it to look too much like a tree house. I do think maybe this tree is just a little bit too big though. I want to find a spot that's got less leaves, which I think this little section here is probably best for that. We can then extend this up a little bit as well. Obviously, I guess this could be our entrance way, so I'll just do it so it's literally in the tree, and it should be fine. I am going to run a little test to make sure that the ladder does work, because sometimes they're a bit funny about having the ladder go up a tree like this, but it's a good way of hiding the way to get into the house. Obviously what I've done is I've kind of just placed it directly in the tree there. I'm going to expand it up a little bit because it was kind of in those leaves and it was kind of getting in the way. So I'm just going to do a little test to make sure that she can actually get up there, which it looks like she can, and it does actually look really cool because it looks like she's sort of scaling the tree, which I think looks way better than just sticking a ladder there and letting her go straight up. So at least that works. We can now go ahead and just make the rest of it, because the rest of it's going to work now that I know that she can walk up there. I'm thinking we do a few levels, so we can start with this little square on the bottom. Then I can have it get a little bit bigger as it goes up a bit. Then I'm thinking we can do a bit of a funky shape up here that just makes it a bit more unique. So I think I'm pretty happy with that as our weird little shape that's going to be the house. At least we've got 3 levels to it. I just need to work out where we're going to put our stairs now. Maybe I'll start with what's going to be the outside of the building, because I definitely want balconies, because it always looks so much better when you have some gorgeous little balconies when you've got a floating building, just because you've got such a good view. So I've added in our fencing just to give us that absolutely gorgeous view. I'm then going to go ahead and just add some pillars and just make it look a little bit more realistic to where things would be placed. I think I'm just going to use these ones. I'm going to try and use some wooden ones just to make it look a bit more natural. Then add in some roofing just to this section. I don't really want it on that with this little trim here, though. It's literally just around these edges. Then gonna add another one up here. I do want this one to be quite short again, so I'll just lower it all the way down to there. I'm thinking I'm gonna make this little edge bit into a greenhouse, because that'll look a lot better. And I think this top part I want to be just completely rounded. It feels a bit more magic-y, mystical kind of shape. And I'm even thinking we can add another one of those in the middle that is taller, and we can make that into glass. I think that's kind of funky shape. Just want to then pick the colours and everything for it. So obviously this top one is going to be glass, so I need one of these glass ones. I think we can probably do it in white. Now the problem is obviously it's going to look a little bit funky, so let's see how that looks and see if there's any other ones that might work better. I mean, that one's kind of cool because it looks a bit decaying. I feel like this one's like the most realistic though. It's a shame it doesn't come in white. Do that one for now because that looks best. Then I am thinking of maybe going with some kind of corrugated roof just to make it look like a little bit more rustic. Because some of the other ones as well with too many patterns don't look particularly good. I think this one's fine. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. The only issue is this is kind of annoying me that like you can't see like all the way through, which would look so much nicer if that was glass. But kind of idea that we could just fill this entire area with plants and that'll look so much nicer because it'll literally look like it's a little like terrarium built into the roof. Okay, so I've filled it full of plants now. It looks so much better. It literally just looks like a little terrarium that's been built in the roof. Going back to our tiny little greenhouse sort of area here. It's either a greenhouse or like some kind of conservatory. Change our windows a little bit on this one, just because I want there to be a little trim right at the bottom here. I think that looks a little bit better. I think that's looking pretty good for our trims. I'm just adding some of this nice wooden texture to these bottom ones just to make them look a bit more simple so this top part stands out more. So I think this is looking really cool so far. I do want to add in my ladder, so I'm going to have stairs that go up to this top part coming off of this balcony here, and that's going to just go directly into this room like this. I think that looks pretty good. Would kind of like that same thing on this side as well. So then I just need to go in and add in our additional windows now that we've sorted out all of our trimmings. It's looking really good. I do think I want to do like maybe some ivy on the sides of the walls, but I'll see whether I'm able to do that because I do want to put it on the roof as well, and that's going to be really difficult. These windows are super pretty, so I think I really want to include these, and they're from the Magic Round Pack, so it actually works perfectly for this. Do just like 2 either side, and we'll do the same on the other side as well. We'll just do them on the corners, I think. I don't think we need them all the way around. Let's see. Yeah, that does let in a pretty good amount of light, and it gives us lots of wall space as well. This floor, I think maybe we just include like these little box windows because those are really cute, and then we can put extra items on the shelving as well, like on the little shelves that you've got inside the windows. I think maybe I do a big open door down here so that lets in a bit more lighting too. I'm actually tempted to do a slightly different thing around the back here. Maybe we can let in even more lighting by choosing a much larger window. Something like this is what I was thinking, because then that's actually going to give us more space as well. I think that one looks quite nice. Yeah, that gives us much more lighting in that tiny room. Obviously, there's quite a lot of lighting anyway in this one, because I think that this glass is still letting in a lot of natural light, even though it's technically covered by another roof. We obviously need our doors as well that are going to lead us through each of these. You will obviously have to go outside in order to access the other floors, but that's kind of fine. We need our little front door, which I think this one from the Cottage Living Pack is actually absolutely adorable. So I think we should use that for our main entrance. Almost looks like you're entering like a secret like fairy layer. Obviously the issue with this one, I did do these platforms, and that's just because I wanted it to be a little bit thicker at the bottom. So we are going to have to do some little stairs that lead us up to this door here, which I think let's do that now. So I'm just going to bring out a little platform here. Hopefully we can just do it maybe that thickness. Then we can add in our stairs. Yeah, perfect. So that does fit in pretty well. We can then have our little door just be at the top. Adding those different platforms as well just gives it that slightly nicer vibe too. We can maybe have the same door up here as well. Then obviously we don't really need a door that leads us up here, and we'll sort out those other little rooms afterwards. I think I probably should put some windows on this thing though as well. We just use like some little ones maybe, something like this. Or if we can get this in white. Yeah, that kind of works. We'll do one on either side of that. I don't really know what this is going to be yet. I might just make it into a toilet, to be honest. But I do want like something really big coming. Let's do like maybe just some more decorations on the roof. I think it needs more just to make it look really cool. I'd like maybe a big sculpture thing here, like maybe a turret. So that does look kind of cool. Is there anything that's more mystical? Maybe we can have a look in the magic pack. There isn't really particularly anything. Let's have a look in just sculptures. Yeah, I think that thing I found before should be fine for it. This one. I think there's nothing else that looks particularly more magic-y. That one's kind of cool, but I want it to be quite big. So if we maybe doubled it, I think that looks pretty good. We can even make it red so it kind of matches with the roof we already picked. Yeah, I think that looks kind of cool. I'm going to switch these for these little round ones, just because I think it looks a bit softer. Now let's give it a go at putting some ivy on maybe this wall here and a little bit on the roof. So what I'm thinking is we can kind of use this to create some overlay. Then we can couple it with this one that adds even more of that kind of just overflow of plants coming down off of the top. There is other ones as well. So we've got things like this. I don't really know if that works as well, but I can always couple them together and it doesn't look too bad. Just trying to sort of create my own little row of plants. I'm going to go ahead and make our ivy. So for that, I'm just going to use the one from the vampire pack and literally just build it going upwards like this in a natural flow. I'm going to use some of this as well just to create a bit more blending and to add some flowers as well, just because it's a very nice bright house so far. I'm just going to use this one to add some different colors. I think that looks pretty good. We can then go ahead and do a bit more on this side. So I'm going to use more of these flowers. We can do them in this yellow because it matches the ivy we've picked near the top. This is going to cover up our windows quite a bit, but we don't really have to worry too much about that because it's not actually going to affect the inside of the house. I'm going to add some of this slightly lighter ivy as well, just for shading. I think that's looking pretty good. We can then go ahead and add some more to the roof. So for that, I'm just going to use these flowers and we're going to use Alt 9 to raise them up. And I like the idea that they've sort of escaped from here and they've just grown all the way down the house, almost like they're like melting as well down the house. So we could just do them sort of like this and it should look pretty cool. So I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. We've got all the different plants coming directly out of that. It looks really nice so far. I'm going to go down and just add a few more details to the outside of the building now, just like this main part over here. I'm actually tempted to change up the wood just because there's a lot of wood texture going on here. I think I might actually use this sort of nice pebble texture. It just looks really nice and sweet. Part of me is tempted to actually just do it on part of it though and just leave the rest of it as wood. So maybe I just do it on like this front section and like here. We can leave the rest as being wood tones. Yeah, I think that looks better. I think I'm going to add some piping just to here. I did kind of want just like a bit more industrially like kind of things in there, but not like a massive amount. I just want that and I think some kind of like aircon or something here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. We can now start decorating the porches and the inside of the house. I'm going to start with our front door and we'll just slowly make our way up. But I want to have a vague idea of what I'm kind of going to do. So I think this can just be a sort of little living area maybe. We can just have like some seating and stuff down here. Obviously, this is our main section right at the top. I think this can be another little seating area just because it does have all of that nice window and bright light. This is obviously also going to be our bedroom area somewhere. I think this would just make a really cool like little magic room as well. So this is where we're also going to practice all of our magic. Obviously, we also have this area here, which is going to be a bathroom. So I'm thinking then we make this our quite simple kitchen and we can maybe have a little bit of seating out here as well, just like a little table and chairs where you could eat out here or you could just bring it upstairs and then you could eat up here. I think that's a pretty good little concept. We've got lots of nice little seating areas, which is going to be quite nice. I think it'd be good to have a little light next to this front door here. It doesn't have to be anything too extravagant. We could just put like one of these directly above. Or we could do these ones because these actually, I think they got bugs inside, which are kind of cute. So we can just do one of those like right next to the door there. Then obviously we've got the inside of this room and it is very small, but I do like the idea that we just have like a little sofa maybe either side and it's just like a little meeting room before you get to the rest of the house. And you get to enjoy that window, which I don't think we have many windows on this side, so you get to actually see the little river as it's going past as well. I think we can do this same nice sort of pebble texture that we've done on the outside. Then I think maybe a lighter wood might be a little bit better, just because it's looking a little dark at the moment, but I guess we also haven't really put in any lights or anything yet. So that's looking cute so far. I think it'd be good to also add some plants into this little windowsill here. But let's do our seating first, I think. We'll just make it, grab sort of like a colour palette that we want to use. I think maybe an armchair there and then we can do a double like sofa there. I think this one looks super comfy. So we could just include this one there. And that also goes with our nice little colour scheme that we've got going as well. Then I feel like this chair goes really well with the colour scheme of the other one as well. Definitely need a rug in here. Let's try and find one that matches with the vibe. I feel like that one maybe makes it a bit too sort of boho looking. Something like this is obviously quite comfy. Do feel like this kind of goes the best with it though. Could even include like a little coffee table as well that we can add some more decorations to. So it's looking pretty good at the minute. I think we can maybe add maybe we could add a lamp actually over on this side. I was going to do a coffee table, but like a little side table, but I think this is actually looking pretty good. I'll have a look if I can find any like tall lamps. I think that would look quite nice in that area. Obviously we do have these magic lamps, which kind of goes with the theme. So we could add that there. The colour's a little bit off though. If we maybe go with brown. Yeah, that looks quite nice. I think on the table as well, we could use maybe just some more little candles, as we are using candles over on that section there. I might not use those ones specifically though. We do have like these ones which are more magic-y, but they are like weirdly, I don't know, maybe. I feel like it's something with like a base to it would probably look a bit better. Do really like the vibe of this one just because it then has a little teapot and it makes sense that you would sit down there and just enjoy a nice cup of tea and have a chill and look out across the water. I think we could also just include some books just sitting on the edge of the table. Then I think we need some decorations on the walls because these walls are looking a little bit bare. Something like a bit more sort of older, maybe Victorian might work quite well. I'm trying to not make it look like it's like super medieval because at the moment it's kind of looking that way, but I think we can fix that with just some different sort of pictures and things. That one's quite good because it matches the tones, and then we need another thing just back here. They can probably be a little bit bigger. Actually, I kind of like this map. I think that looks a little bit better, but it's a bit too small to fit on that other side. But we could put that here. Then I think that one looks quite nice there. Now we can add in some plants. It definitely needs like lots of plants around this room. Problem is, I very much do want to include plants into that section, and to do that we're going to have to go out of the room and then Alt-9 until it goes all the way up. Then I can add them into that little space there. There we go. I think that looks better. Then we can move over this side and just add a couple more bits here. I think we can maybe add a little plant just to the side next to that door. Then maybe we just include a little mirror on this side with a little light as well. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Then if it was nighttime, let's see how dark that room is. It's pretty nice. It's not too dark. It feels like nice and cozy. And I think I'm going to use that same light we used at the front door on this side, just to make sure that it's not super dark when people are walking around. I'll go with the slightly lighter tone though, I think. Then we can go up to our next floor, which this one was going to be our kitchen. We've got quite a decent amount of space on this side as well, so it should be pretty nice and easy to do. Add in some little fencing just around here. I think for this one it would be better off doing something like that than with an accent wall across here. Obviously the vibe of these rooms is going to completely change when we get up to this room, which is a lot more glamorous. I think we can do an L-shaped kitchen for this. We can maybe put our fridge on this side. I think we can actually even have a little island in the middle as well. I think our fridge might actually be better being there. We'll then do just a little end one there. So we've got our sink. We can then do our oven and fridge there. Then I'm going to add some decorations around here. Just make it look a little bit nicer. I think this is looking pretty cute at the moment though. I think it looks really nice and almost like cozy, which is quite good. I'm happy that all of like the nice warm tones of wood are making it feel just like that bit comfier. I think we can add in some more decorations to maybe our counters. I do want a little something else there as well, maybe like a hanging plant or something. I think we could include some of these. Maybe we could put these on this back wall over here. Do some aprons. Might put them just there, just above the bin. Really like this little fruit holder thing as well, so I might put that just over here. Then a few little extras, just like this little mug holder. I've added some soap next to the sink. Add maybe some glasses and a little thing of water just there on that side counter. Add a little draining rack, but I think I just want it to be a little bit further to that back section there. Same with like some of these bits, so I think I want to have a plant in that back section, and then we can just move these so they fit around the plant. I think that looks nice. We could do with maybe something else just over this side. So if I lift this up a little bit, maybe we could just do some of these jugs. Okay, so I think that's pretty good with this side of the room. I'm then going to go over here and maybe we do some more lighting over on this side. Thinking just do one of those there and there. I think that looks pretty nice. I think we just do need maybe another light over on this side. We can just have one hanging from the roof though. Maybe just like that one. Then it's nice and just sitting above that table. So let's have a look at how that looks at night. Yeah, still nice and bright, able to do lots of cooking. I think I just want to include some plants as well on these windowsills here. And just do like some little ones like this. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then we'll do one over on this side as well. So we've got a little plant on both sides, and that's looking much nicer now. We can then go out here where I just wanted to do a little bit of lighting and just a 2-person table. I think that one's going to be quite good if we're putting the table there, because then it's kind of just extending past the actual window. Or we can put it a little further over and actually put it there, which means that we're going to be able to see it from both sides. I think I might include some little ivy as well, just going up here, but like some dead ones instead of the more alive ones, just to add a bit more decoration in there. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. Then I really like this table, just I really like the pattern on it of just like the cute little flowers. I think it looks so good. And we can just add in our chairs. And then I think maybe we could just have like a small like candle or something on the table. Just something little like this would probably work. Okay, then we can go up to our last floor, which is our big one, where we're going to have our main bedroom and workspace. We can just have big open doors for this one, just so you can close them off if you need to. I think some tiling or something in here would actually look really nice. Something with like some pattern like this. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Or this one. Actually, yeah, this one's nice. If I can get it in blue. Yeah, that looks really nice. I'll just start with this little room that we've got here anyway. And actually, this kind of works well. It's a shame because I think it's like slightly cream toned. It would be so much nicer if it was white. The pattern works perfectly though, so I can get something similar to that. Or we can actually use the ones that come with the set, the magic set, which actually these kind of work as well. I wonder if there's like a slightly smaller version. I also feel like these kind of work. So maybe I'm actually going to go with this and then get the bigger version of that one for there. Problem is I'm not finding a lot where they match the big and the little ones together. What about this one? See, that's quite nice because at least it's got like some throws and things on it. Again, there isn't really one that matches when we go into the slightly smaller ones. Okay, I did find one of the smaller ones for the magic pack, so I'm just going to use that and the bigger one from here. But I want to add a little book like case in here, so then you can do some reading in this really lovely little conservatory. And I think we're going to do a little table and then just put a little bit of decorations on there, and I think then that should look nice and finished. Okay, so I've just added 2 little lamps and the little flowers in the middle. So let's check, make sure that that looks good at night. Yeah, so it looks pretty good. Then we can move over to our main section. So I'm thinking about having some platforms involved in this. We could just make it slightly elevated, and I think that'll just make the room look a little bit better as well. So I'm thinking we could have maybe this area be elevated where we're going to have the bed. Obviously I don't want to dip in too much into that section because that's where we're going to have our door to our toilet. But we could have this bit elevated, and maybe we can have the door to be fair could be like like this whole room could be elevated by 1, and it shouldn't mess it up too much. So I'm thinking we can have that elevated by 2, and then this can be elevated by 1, and it's a natural step then. And we can have the bed just be up here, where I'm hoping that I have actually made that big enough for the bed. I think it should be though. Yeah, that should be fine. You can be able to get in through either side. So then we can choose, so obviously this is the only bed that comes in the Magic Realm pack. I mean, it still is kind of cool. The only issue I'm seeing obviously is these windows behind here, but we could literally just get rid of those and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm actually thinking maybe instead we could just put them either side of here and just make it a bit different. And that still makes it look really cool next to this bed. So I think that looks actually really cool for the bed. I do think maybe just this lighter color here would be good, just like a nice light blue. You see if there's any just with like a light pattern that would be good. This one obviously has quite a light pattern. I think that does look kind of cool. It's a very different vibe from the rest of the house is the only thing, but I think that's kind of the point, is that like this is just the basic part of it, and then as you go up you get to this really gorgeous and extravagant like living area upstairs. I think I will actually change these as well just to make them white. Then I do like the tile idea, so I think I'll do tile for this, and then maybe we could do wooden like platforms for our bed. I think I might have to do like a more plain tile though, because some of them are a bit too extra. I think that one looks pretty nice. It's a bit modern, but I can't really find another one that doesn't have too much pattern on it, and it's the most sort of plain looking one that I can find. Do you think maybe if we do like marble for this, it might look a little bit better? It's very extravagant, but the problem with wood is it goes a certain direction, and because this is on an angle, it's just going to look really strange. Then we'll add in some lighting, and I'll just put them either side of the bed like that. That looks pretty nice. So then if it's nighttime, this is what our bedroom looks like. I think that looks really pretty so far. So let's now go ahead and add in the rest of our stuff. So I want maybe a wardrobe over on this side. I think that looks pretty good. Then over on this side, on the rest of the room, we can start doing all of our different magic-y tricks. So for this, I'm just going to go in and do show all, and then I'm just going to put it on just the magic pack. So obviously there's quite a few different bits. I also have some random debug items that are showing up as well. But we can definitely put up some things like these gorgeous little pictures. I'm going to put them over this side maybe. Or we'll actually, let's maybe put it over here. If I put it there, maybe I might move it later, but I'll see what there is to put there first. We've obviously got our little mirror as well, which I might put maybe there against these two little windows, just because right next to the wardrobe then, which also makes sense. Do have this big fireplace as well, which I'm half tempted to put there, but it just kind of doesn't really work. I'm thinking as an alternative I can actually move some of these windows around and we could have them on this side because they're not being seen anyway because of all of the ivy. So we can maybe do 2 there, but maybe add a 3rd one just for repetition. And then we could actually have that big fireplace here instead, which I do think that looks really cool in this room. And it's completely opposite the bed then, which also looks really cool. I think this would be nice to have in the center of the room as well. We can't exactly do it perfectly central just because of that like staircase that we've got, but we could do it there where it's like still kind of central in the room. Then I want this very large cauldron in the center as well. And then we can go ahead and just start adding in our other decorations. These other things are quite hefty, so I think I am going to put that there. They take up like a lot of the wall. So I'm going to decide between, we've got that thing, this one, or this one that I can place in that spot. I feel like this one's a little bit too wide, so one of these would probably be better. So it's either that one or this one. Actually kind of think if we try and compare it to the other one, I think this one's better because this looks a bit too similar to that shape. Then we can make it white and then it sits in with the room a little bit better. Then I think I do want like another one of these long tables maybe, or we could go with something like this. I feel like this might be a little bit too big though. Yeah, we'll go with something else. And then I want to include like some little objects as well. So I want to include that. I think we could include these two either side of this. I'll pull them back a little bit. Or you put that orb there as well. Or actually, maybe this one. This one works a little bit better with the color scheme. Okay, and I think that's fine. Let's go grab a little table. Surfaces, and then I'll grab maybe just another one of these actually, because those are quite nice. We can just add these little items to it. And I think we definitely need way more clutter, so I'm going to just go in and add more of that. I think we could do with some more plants and things as well. There we go. I think I'm pretty happy with that room actually. I don't want to add too much to it. It is quite a large room, but I just don't want it to feel super cluttered. So now we can just move over to our bathroom. So for this one, I think I'm just going to use plaster. Obviously we do need some lighting as well. I think we could just use this one again. Maybe we could just put it either side here. There is a Realm of Magic mirror that I'm going to include there as well. I think we could actually use that same tiling in here just to bring it in and make it look similar. I think I might have to change the lighting a little bit just because there really isn't enough room in here. Just maybe use one of those. Yeah, that looks fine. I think that looks kind of cute because that matches the flooring as well. There we go. I've added just a few little bits of decorations and that bathroom is now done. So that's our last room. But there we go, our magical house in The Sims 4 is complete. I think this looks really cool, and I think the fact it's floating definitely makes it look cool as well. I really like the top part the most. I think it definitely looks very magical, and I really like the different tones of light blue and white that we've used that just make it look really elegant as well. I like to think that the Sim who lived here made the first 2 floors and then later made the 3rd floor once they got more powerful and once they were better at magic. But I really like the sort of rustic design of the outside as well, and the little plant garden on top. It looks really cool. But let me know what you think of this build in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. You can download it on the gallery under Floating Magical House or under my gallery ID HextraHunt. If you enjoyed this video, there is another recommended video on the screen now, so check that one out too, and I hope you all have a great evening.